Join me on my journey as I challenge myself to take control of my health after hearing my doctor's warning. According to the CDC, 47%, that's 1 in 2 adults, suffers from hypertension, or what most people call high blood pressure. Now, you can have high blood pressure and never even know it. High blood pressure leads to things like heart attack, stroke, blindness, kidney failure, and even erectile dysfunction. That's why high blood pressure is known as the silent killer. Last week, I went into the doctor to talk about a mystery pain and to get set up as a new patient. I'm 50 now, and apparently I should be seeing a doctor regularly. At least that's according to my wife. During my check-in, they do all the normal stuff. First, they take my weight, which I hate this part. It comes back 305 pounds. Then they took my blood pressure. 142 over 102. Now, I didn't know anything about blood pressure, so I didn't know that was bad. Now, I don't know if you're aware because I didn't have a clue, but normal blood pressure should be around 120 over 80. Anything higher than 130 over 90 is considered hypertension stage 1 or high blood pressure. Now, there's plenty of doctor videos out there explaining what the numbers mean, but to keep it simple, because, well, frankly, I'm not a doctor, the top number, your systolic number, the 120, is the pressure that your heart pushes the blood out at. Kind of like when you have water in the garden hose and you turn it on. The bottom number, the diastolic number, the 80, is the pressure that your blood is at when it's just sitting in your veins. Kind of like when the water's just sitting in the hose. So with medical fluff out of the way, let's talk about what's my real problem. Well, I'm not a very active guy and I kind of like food. I've managed to hover around 295 pounds for the last decade or so. In 2017, I hit my highest weight ever at 325 pounds. I made a decision, I went hard, and I lost almost 70 pounds. But by late 2023, I'd managed to get back up to 320. I guess you could call me a yo-yo dieter. I would diet a little and then I'd slowly put the weight back on, like 95% of the human population. So over the last 2 decades of my yo-yo weight loss journey, I've researched and tried most of the popular diets out there. Later on, I'll tell you which one of them that I picked for this final journey, and if I have anything to say about it, it will be the final weight loss journey. From a medical standpoint, I've always been quote-unquote morbidly obese. But I've never tested positive for diabetes, and I've never had problems with high blood pressure. What I have had is circulation problems in my legs for the last 15 years. But I'll get into that a little bit more in another video. This has been the side effect of sitting for most of my day over the last probably 30 plus years. I commute to work, I sit for work for 8 to 10 hours, and then I go home and I sit at my desk while I play video games or watch games or do other things. And of course, I can't be bothered to find the time to do 30 minutes of exercise a few times a week, as medically prescribed. All right, let's back up a little bit. So after leaving my doctor's appointment, the first thing I did was I started digging. Because being a nerd, research is always needed. Now I already know that I'm fat. There's no surprise there. But what I need to understand now is about high blood pressure. So Google searches and YouTube videos for the win. The second thing I had to do is I had to find out where I currently stand and start making a plan. Because anything worth doing is worth having a plan for. The scale at the doctor's office said that I was 305, so I knew that I was lower than that. Now I have one of those fancy scales. You know, the one that connects to your phone and scans a whole bunch more things than what you really ever want to know about yourself. So if you look at that, weight, obviously, but there's also my BMI, the body mass index. The body mass index is the number that your doctor uses to determine if you're at a healthy weight, if you're overweight, if you're obese, or if you're severely obese, sometimes called morbidly obese. Mostly because this is the weight that you will most certainly guarantee things like high blood pressure. So for a starting weight, I weighed in at 297.2 pounds with a body mass index of 44. Looking at the BMI chart, I need to get down to somewhere around the 24 to 30 range. Now, ideally, a doctor will tell you need to be in the 18 to 24 range, but I don't know that I can see myself weighing half of my max weight. That would be less than I weighed when I graduated high school. Okay, so now on to the third thing I did. Lucky number 3, I called in reinforcements. My oldest son is a power lifter. If you've seen my first video, you'll know that he's the one that gave me OPAW's journal. He spent the last 10 years of his life studying exercise and just health in general. Now, I'm sure he's getting tired of talking to me about exercise, but I asked him about a diet and exercise routine. Should I do keto? Should I do paleo? Should I do Mediterranean? Maybe a carnivore diet is what I need. Or maybe whole food plant-based diet. His advice? Do whichever diet you can stick to. Damn it, I feel like I've been called out. The best diet for you is the one that you can stay on for 3 to 4 months, and maybe longer. Now, I don't know about you, but I suck at cutting carbohydrates. I get tired of trying to remember that carrots and corn, even though they're a vegetable, are high in natural sugars. So which diet can I stick to? I'm gonna go simple, and I'm gonna lower my calories. Step 1, no sugar. No more fruit pies and candy bars. Kill me now. Oh wait, the high blood pressure will. Step 2, well, that's gotta be more water. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge water fan, although I've got it here. I'm more of a black tea, green tea type of guy, but I'm also gonna have to cut out my diet sodas. Step 3, well, that's gonna be a little bit more regular sleep. I'm usually about 5 to 6 hours of sleep. You know, that's the kind of guy I am. So this part for me is going to be a little bit of work. All right, Grandmaster, what about an exercise plan? Now, you're not going to believe this, but he said no exercise plan. At least not yet. So then what's the game plan? Well, first, we start with adjusting food, water, and sleep for the next 3 weeks. Second, we add in small exercises slowly, with starting by adding in 10,000 steps per day. Third, this little vape rig's gonna have to go away. So what about some goals? What am I gonna do? When am I gonna do it by? Well, after looking at my failed weight loss journey over the last decade, you can see that misery here, I realized that I had already lost 70 pounds at one point in time, and if I think back, I'd lost 40 pounds at another point in time. So goal number 1 is to get down to that 255 pounds mark. That should definitely help my BMI. Goal number 2 is going to be to get down to 225 pounds. The lowest weight that I have been in the last 2 decades was 235. And once I hit 225, I will have broken the 100 pounds lost mark. That'll be when I get my 100-pound club tattoo. Goal number 3, well, that's going to be to get down to 195 pounds, my high school graduation weight. And finally, that will put me out of the 200s. Now, in this process of dropping weight, this should drop my high blood pressure down to hopefully below the 120/80. The ultimate goal is to live until I'm 100 years old. My grandfather died at 97, and he had diabetes, and he was a colon cancer survivor. So this is definitely an obtainable goal. I started last Monday by weighing in at 297.2. Saturday morning, I weighed in at 292.6. Already off to a good start. Oh, and when do I want to do it by? Because you can't have a goal without having an end in mind. Well, at least that's what they tell me. I will be 200 pounds by the end of this year. So come along with me on this journey. I'm setting up a web page so that you and everybody else can track my progress and keep me accountable, and I'll be posting regular updates with some progress photos along the way. And most importantly, the little changes that I'm making for the long term are going to be permanent improvements. And over the life of this channel, you all are welcome to hold me to that statement. Feel free to leave your own stories of your health journey in the comments below, or maybe some other words of encouragement. And remember, be good to one another.